Hi, everyone, and welcome to Starting with IEP. I am Flor Amelia, and we are at episode number 15. Today, we're going to be talking about inclusive social groups. I remember when I moved from Iowa over here, and I think this was around May, if I remember, and we were getting ready for the summer. And I remember that everyone already had their camp programs already scheduled, and I guess I was the only one. I thought you're supposed to prepare during springtime. No. In this county, you sign up in November, especially for certain camps that are really good. I didn't know this actually. In my mom's group, they told me. And I also remembered that this camp kept on popping up. It just kept on popping up. And it was so huge because it was an inclusive camp where you would be given a camp counselor, but it wouldn't cost extra. So it's a whole day camp where they have instruction for swimming. They get to go outside, play sports. Oh my goodness, it sounded so good. Okay, I'm going to sign up, Aaliyah. And then they were like, oh no, you have to register in November. And most of the times, the same day, all the spots are taken. So as soon as it opens, you have to register. To increase your chances, you have to be a member of that organization. So you get first dibs. I guess you get to pick some time before they open it to the rest of the public. So I was like, okay, I'm going to make sure that I am prepared for my daughter's inclusive camp. This was big for me because I remember that in Iowa, there weren't many inclusive camps. And a lot of times I would volunteer. I would be like, oh, it's okay. I can be her one-on-one. You don't have to pay me. I'll pay for my daughter to be in camp and I'll be there all day. For me, it was really important just to have peers around. But there weren't many options for us. And even over when we moved to Maryland, there weren't many options that were affordable. So in Iowa, there were just weren't options. And then over here, we couldn't afford them. Yes. Did a lot of crazy things like open up credit cards, accounts. Maybe that's too much information for you guys. But I mean, I'm a mom. And again, there was just plenty of times where I was very desperate and I just wanted programs for her. And I learned and I did that. I guess what just hurt in the beginning. And I did write a post. Let me see if I can screenshot and share it with you guys. That when she got into that camp, I was just so thankful because it just hurt as young as 3-year-old. She would be rejected. And a lot of the times it's because she was medically fragile, which I understood. They didn't have a full-time nurse, but again, I would be on standby just in case a seizure happens. I can give her rescue med. I'm more than willing to park. She could be in the building. I would be in the parking lot. For a lot of social groups, I know it sounds so sad. For a lot of social groups, I remember when Aaliyah was 12. This was the most extreme I think I did. There was a 5-hour long type of camp that would be on Saturdays, and they would take her to different places. So I would drive an hour and 20 minutes. You guys are going to think I'm crazy, right? An hour and 20 minutes, drop her off, and then just stay in the parking lot, take my computer out and start working. And then I just wait until her camp would be over. And then I would get my daughter and then drive an hour and 20 minutes back home. Sometimes it's longer because of traffic, but it was worth it. I don't think I've ever regretted it or dreaded it because it was the only opportunity that I saw that my daughter had. Sorry, I'm about to get emotional. So I do understand when parents are like, where do I take my child? What programs are out there? I do understand the desperation of a parent. I'm sorry for getting emotional there. I'll try to control my emotions better. This is why I prefer to do the interviews, but today was a hard day because I'm not going to talk about it too much about it because then I'll get more emotional. But we recently lost someone that has volunteered so much to our nonprofit, Ascenda Foundation. Such a strong self-advocate, really wanted to help others. He actually did a video with my daughter because everyone was writing their draft on what they were going to say in the video, and they wanted to send the videos to their delegates, just asking for more connections, networking, so they can find other volunteer work that can lead them to an internship, that can lead them to a job. He passed away. He was so young, 21 years old, an incredible young soul. So I decided to talk about social groups because I know this was something that he was really pushing for. He's like, you should do an open house so we can get more young people here. He went to Montgomery College. He loved nature and he was looking for nature groups that he can be a part of, engineering groups that he can be a part of. Today, I wanted to focus on social groups because I know that's something that he wanted me to focus on for our youth. I'm going to put my energy on that to make sure that we do that. Okay, I'm gonna get it together because I know a lot of the kids, the youth, need to feel connected with other. Maybe not all of them, but the ones that I have been working with, they want to find these groups. I have one that's really into Japanese items. Anything with Japanese culture, he's into. Then I have another one that's really into Pokemon. And then I have another one that's really into HVACs, anything that has to do with that. And then you have my daughter that's really into shopping. They all have different ideas, but if they find their own community, they can feel more like they're at home and not so much, is it just me that likes certain things? I feel if I can find the other person that they can talk about, that's the whole point for today's episode. I just really want to make sure that I continue the ideas that he gave me. I think that's important. So I shared a little bit what inspired me into creating these social groups. And I want to also share that I noticed that when we talk about things that they love and they really care about, our kids, our youth, they just light up, right? And they just keep on talking about it. And I just love that. And I want to make sure that I create those environments for them. I just have to find peers. That's one of the, I want to say, hardest thing, but we will get there. So, how do I envision that this group is going to help kids with IEP build friendships and social connections? So, one of the things that I've noticed is that kids or individual with another individual, right? Not just kids, but just individual. We bond faster when we do things that we like to do, right? I bonded so quickly in my Bible study class because we share a strong interest for something. And then I'm able to be more open to them because when we share a common interest, we can share. And I want to say it's the same thing for our kids. They have more fun when they talk about things that they're interested in. So I want to make sure that I offer that to them. And that's what I see in IEPs, that sometimes when they create these social goals, they may be lacking. It just depends on the school and the interventions that they have and the staff that they have available. But I want to say, in order for us to support these IEPs, we need to find groups that create these natural environment in order to make those happen. So that way we can work on turn taking, we can work on collaboration, that we can work on conversation, initiation of a conversation, to maintain a conversation. I think that's huge. And something else is that one of the things that I want to make sure that we highlight here is that we want to make sure that we put an emphasis that they do belong somewhere, especially those that want to be part of a group. So one of the questions that I know that parents might be asking is what type of activities would we be doing? So one of our first groups that we're going to do is we're going to start a Pokemon group. We're also going to do it virtually just for those that are unable to attend in person in Kensington, Maryland, in Montgomery County. But for those that can't be with us in person, we'll do it virtually. We'll have that available. So I'm not the Pokemon pro, but from what I understand, they're going to be having trading nights, guessing game, character battles, and also storytelling on the Pokemon. And there's plenty of more things for those that don't have cards. There's other online that they can do as an alternative. I also have down that they'll be designing their own Pokemon cards and inventing new characters, which I think was really fun because then you get to put more of an imagination in there. Also, there'll be collaborative team challenges where everyone gets to contribute. And also activities will also be adapted to all levels. That way they can practice. Also, I want to share is that we're also having volunteers SSL hours, community service that they can add in their resume. So sometimes I often have siblings that really love the center and they want to volunteer. So then they come with their sibling, but they volunteer, right? And then they become a peer for our other kiddos here. If you guys would like to send your teenagers, young adults, and if they're interested in Pokemon or they would like to do or lead their own interest groups, hobby groups, that'll be great because then our youth get to have bonds, create real bonds with others. And also, what I'm going to try is get to kind of like be exposed to other things. Oh, you try different activities, different hobbies, you get exposed to it. Now, some kids, they might be hesitant, but some may be into it. So that's always good. I really love the idea of having peer buddies where we can pair kids with similar interests. One of the things that I'm excited about is creating more of that inclusive environment where we promote inclusivity. And I think it's so important for us to do and teach the youth for our peer buddies because then we set a status and we teach them. And then that way they can bring it back to their school or their environment. They normalize it and then they can promote it hopefully when they are adults in their work sites. So I think these inclusive groups are so important because so many times has it been able to help and break these barriers for individuals where they just want to talk about one thing and they're just so good about that. That would be such a huge win because then they can talk about that topic with someone else who loves it just as much. And then they can build a bond with it. So I remember really seeing it. It was across states, but it was completely worth it. Completely worth it connecting these two families where they were talking about maps. We're so good at it too. Now they were a grade apart, but it was still very meaningful. And they were very getting really competitive about the maps, but also the population of it. So I thought that was really great because the parents, they understood. They were like, oh, can your child do this? Oh, which maps region? And it's also really interesting how the parents get to meet someone else that knows about all of the interest and love that their child also has. They just know so much. So I think it was just so great just seeing the conversations that they were coming out of that. Then they oftentimes not only do they teach the parents, but they teach others around them that are listening, which is so interesting. So one of the things that I want to do, I want to make sure that we cover every skill level in order for everyone to be able to participate. So I do want to create visuals, simple direction in order for them to follow through. And after, so I'm just running a pilot program. But a lot of the times I want to say, and I remember with the programs that I saw my daughter in, I would ask in their IEPs. Now, tying this back to the IEP, the reason why social groups are important, we see how the child is outside of school and then inside of school. And then it works where you can share, hey, did you know that if you talk about princess, Disney princess, you will get more out of her. You just have to find someone else. What's so great also when you bring outside experience, you can compare about how it is at the school. Because I know sometimes it might be difficult creating these social opportunities at school. I know for different schools that I've been at, they're like, oh, yes, we round them up for lunch and then we talk to them, or a lot of the times, especially if they're like on diploma track, they can talk about how the focus is more on academic and not so much on social skills because they are too busy with schoolwork. I remember one family in Anne Arundel County, that's one of the things in Maryland, that they were more concerned about academics, but mom was more concerned about social skills, which makes sense because for the individual, social skills were really important. They wanted to make friends. They wanted that for themselves. So we wanted to make sure that we kept on pursuing and pushing those goals. But sometimes as parents, we need to come with baseline data. So you need to find these social groups opportunities. Now, okay, I am not trying to give any parents additional work. No, believe me, I know how busy it must be. But if you are able to find these social groups, even if it's virtual or something that you can find locally, then you have your own data, you have your own observations that you can bring back to the table. And then you can say, in a group of three, they do really well. But I've noticed in a group of seven, they start shying away from the group. Or you can say, initiating conversations, starting conversations are really hard. But if someone starts conversation, then it's easier. Then we can talk about, oh, maybe one of the social goals that should be is initiating conversation. I want to say mental health is really important. Mental health is always important for the child, making sure that they feel seen. And if they want friends, I know for all parents, we try to, if that's something that they're looking for. Something that I really want to share is often in personal experience, I'm going to share a lot of the times I bring a lot of examples that occur at home in the community, what I see, where her challenges are. And then I ask them, what's your baseline in at school? What do you see at school? And I do bring videos if needed. Sometimes it is enough for me to say, but I know there have been occasions where I'm like, look, this is where I'm seeing. But there's the I want to say for the time that my daughter had a huge tantrum, I did not want to videotape that, but I did put a picture, just a picture to show how sad she was and she couldn't communicate, just to paint a picture because a lot of the times the school may not see them in that. And this was the time, you guys, where the school wasn't listening to me. They weren't hearing how worried I was about her mental health. So this is a time where I sent a picture And I described, I was like, you may not see this, but by the time she comes home to me, this is how she is. So sometimes I do have to do that, but it just depends on case by case. And as she's getting older, I want to make sure that I don't put anything out there that she may not like. But in that case, the school wasn't seeing what I was seeing, so I would put that there. The reason why I'm saying this is because if you put them in these social groups, then you would see where the deficits are, where the challenges are. So you can put more for these social goals, right? For example, we have individuals that we work with, but there are sometimes personalities clashes, right? We have one that tends to say a lot of curses. A lot of curses. And then we have another individual that really wants to be a police officer. And if he hears someone curse, there's a lot of screaming involved. So then we see where personalities clashes, right? And then this is where we can take it back into the IEP. And you can ask, hey, I've noticed in social groups this X, Y, and Z happens. Is this what you're seeing? So the challenges that you're seeing outside, you have only gotten it because you have put your child in a group setting, and then you're able to see where the struggles are. And then you would ask the school, what do you do in those occasions? What were your solutions? And then that way you can bring it back to the social group, right? But also, what if they don't have a solution? What if they don't have interventions in place? Then you can definitely ask, hey, if this were to happen, can you please let me know before it actually does occur? Can you let me know what happens? Actually, let me tell you a story where we had an individual, he was a middle school student, where he had enough was enough and he pushed another child. He was sent to the principal's office. He was scared. Oh my goodness, because he's never been in trouble, but that was very traumatic for him. So what it would have been nice is for the principal to just let them know, because this is a child that has an IEP, right? And the parents had to take them to see a mental health specialist because then he was just afraid to go to school. He wasn't going to school for, I want to say about 2 weeks, I believe it was, because he was afraid that the principal was going to see him again, especially because as a middle schooler, that the principal is like a big deal. Oh, you're getting sent to the principal's office. Now the parent knows to ask, hey, if this were to happen again, what are the consequences? What are you going to do? How can we collaborate together so I know ahead of time what will be done, what can be done? Possible solutions can be like, can you meet them in the hallway instead of in your office because your office is pretty intimidating? Can it be during PE where other kids do not see? Can it be a little bit more discreet? How you're getting him out of the classroom instead of the other kids knowing that he's being taken to the principal's office. So I know all of that was pretty traumatic, right, for the child. So I think for this, it's an eye opener where conflicts can arise and also where challenges are. And also where strengths are too, because if there's strengths, we definitely have to make sure that we strengthen those strengths. Okay, so I guess I'm gonna ask for some action items here. Okay, so I'm gonna ask some action items for parents that are here in Maryland and would like to help me just launch some few pilot programs. One of the things that I do want to do in person is dances. Now, I'm not the best at salsa, but I'm okay. Like Latin songs and Latin movements, I want to say I'm decent. I'm not horrible. So we can definitely do a group on that. But I want to say that I'm not really great at drama clubs. So I don't know if we have any volunteers, any other parents that would love to volunteer and help me run those groups. I'm not an artist. I mean, I can definitely do art, but I'm not great at it. So we're also looking for volunteers there. Also for music, I don't have a green thumb, but I'm also looking for individuals that want to volunteer their time and help us lead these programs. I would love to have a youth. I would love to have a high schooler run it. And the reason why is because then it's peer to peer, right? There will always be an adult there. We have plenty of staff at the center, but also we would be helping their resume too. We also do have like internship opportunities. We have high school internship and then we have college internships too if they want to help us lead the program. There's just so much that I want to make sure that I open these opportunities for our kids to grow and feel that they are part of a community because I know friendships are hard. One of the things that I am kind of sad about sharing, my daughter's in high school and she's never had a friend invite her. Now, for a parent, that's hard to hear, right? She's okay with it. She actually has a lot of besties at home, which is her 6 year old, her 4 year old, and her 3 year old sibling. She definitely considers them as besties because, or actually either besties or she considers them as her babies. She must be considered her own because whenever it's cold outside, she shoves that hat in the Oh my goodness. Sometimes they're like, okay, my second mom. And I'm like, that's your big sister. She just want to make sure that you're warm. But she definitely feels love at home. Also, the school that she's at, all the other kids, they live so far away that it's not our own neighborhood schools. I know this is hard sometimes to find friends in your own communities because if you're new to special education, if you're new to just this world, this special needs world, you'll see that your own neighborhood school is not the school that your child may go to. You may need to go to other community schools, but that might be 20 minutes away, it might be an hour away, depending. It just depends what type of district you're in. It might be just too far for you to after school or do carpool. It just might be difficult. That always has been the case for my Aaliyah. And it has always been very, very difficult to find someone similar to my Aaliyah. I remember, oh, I'm going to share something. I remember once I invited someone and it was a play date. Now, I made sure it was a fun play date, you guys. I remember everything was like princess theme. And I invited one little girl from the class, but I think the mom didn't expect my daughter to be high support needs. Her daughter definitely was saying sentences, and my daughter was barely saying words at that time. I did explain how my daughter was recovering from her brain surgeries and she did regress on a lot on language. But I remember saying, "Hey, well, we would love to have you next week." I was hoping for her to have another peer, uh, but it just seemed, I don't know, it just didn't go well. And it's okay. It happens, right? But I think sometimes this pain, the parent feels it more than the child. And as parents, one of the things that I've learned is that it's okay. If the child is asking for it, I want to express if Aaliyah was expressing to me, I want a friend, I would definitely work much more harder than what I'm currently doing because I want to make sure I respect her. I don't want to push her too much. I definitely want her to have friendships if that's what she desires. Definitely, this initiative to work on social groups was because of the reason that I mentioned earlier that I want to make sure that I push for. And if you guys check out our website at ascendafoundation.org, you can know more about his story. His name was Fabian, an amazing, amazing soul. And I just want to make sure that I continue this for him. I do want to share that he loved cats and he loved to volunteer. So, as a group, we will be doing a service cat day. Not exactly sure exactly what we're going to do for cats, but I remember once, this was 2, 3 years ago, where I'm like, we can make cat toys out of yarn. No, I think he's very like cost effective type of person. He's very mindful about how much we spend, which I loved about him. But I have all the yarn. So now we just have to make the toys for the cats. Someone did donate all the yarn. So thank you so much for those donations. Thank you. So now all we got to do is just be creative and learn how to make toys for the cats. That's one of the things that we're going to do. And another thing, another service day that we're going to do that he loves is cleaning up nature, cleaning up a park, cleaning up anything that's near a bike trail because he loves biking. He loves going on these trails, but one of the things that he hates seeing is when it's trashed because he loves nature. So one of the things that we're going to make sure is that we're going to be cleaning up the park. So if you guys want to do these volunteer service days with us, please reach out to us and then we can make it happen. Well, thanks for hearing about the story that I have about Fabian. And also, we're working on having a scholarship under his name because he was our number one volunteer at Ascenda Foundation. Number one volunteer. My goodness, the countless hours that he did. He was really looking for a job. He was looking to land a job, and he knew the best way to do it is through volunteer work. And he can show it in his resume. He definitely had a lot of letter recommendations from all of us and other organizations that we collaborate with. So he definitely had a beautiful resume that he worked on. So thank you for allowing me to share his story, share his vision that he had for Ascend the Foundation. And I just want to make sure that I grow it. But also, I find this very, very important because then parents can use this. So even if it's not with us, if for those that don't live in Maryland, please find a social group or a virtual social group. Now, for parents that are like, Flor, where do I go find one? A lot of the times you can find other parent groups. So I would put the county that you live in, and then I would put the diagnosis or special needs county, state, or special needs state. And then you can, within that Facebook group, you can ask, where are the social groups in those groups? So I think that's important. I think that's the easiest way. That's the easiest way that you can go. Or what you can also do, this is actually how I started when I moved here in Montgomery County from Iowa. So in Iowa, they had the Arc of Story County, I believe. It wasn't like the state chapter, it was like a sub chapter. And I believe that's what the county was. Oh, no, I forgot. Sorry. I lived in Ames, Iowa, and I'm pretty sure the county for Ames, Iowa is Story County. And they told me all your resources that you need, go to the Arc, Maryland, and then they would direct you like which county. But I already knew which county. So I searched the county chapter. So we went to the Arc, Montgomery County. Now it's digital, but back then it wasn't digital. So I had, oh my goodness, so many different flyers and it was thick. I was like, oh, it was Christmas because I had so many different resources. I had so many different resources and I was so excited about it because I was like, oh my goodness, this county was so filled with different resources. I mean, it still is. It's just all digital now. But please check out the ARC chapters that are in your county, in your states. Ask them, where are the parent groups? Where are the social groups? Where are the self-advocate groups? That's something also that we're going to be trying to launch in Ascenda Foundation, just to make sure that all of our kids, they know how to find their own voice and how to express their voice when it comes to state legislation. So that's our next step. For right now, we're working on social groups. But yes, please let me know if there's anything that you need me to share more of. But for now, don't forget to subscribe, share with another friend. I hope what I shared, it helped you or made you think about social groups in a different way. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you.